Hello, everybody. It's TGIF Friday. It's the 10th. The 10th. Yeah. January 10th. I have it marked down as the day that Trump gets sentenced in New York criminal court. A show trial by Judge Juan Mojant. He is guilty of classifying payments he made to his lawyer as legal expenses. Only in America can you be sentenced in New York criminal court for classifying legal payments as legal payments. You know, just because you don't have 500 general ledger accounts, you know, if you have QuickBooks, for example, the standard chart of general ledger accounts, you know, that they suggest might have 60 or 75 different designations for payments, you know, like utilities, legal expenses, you know. You wouldn't have court costs, you know, as a separate account unless you felt like creating a custom account name, which I've done. Just got a nuisance phone call. I get these phone calls from all over the place. And those calls are labeled, you know, like political calls or advertising and promotion calls. So the big headline news is hell of LA County. Fire and fury as bad management leaves the burning city without water. Can you imagine? That's the problem when you have a woke city council that hires people into senior roles, like in the fire department or, you know, the mayor. You know, the mayor's out to lunch too, LA County. Yeah, I mean, this is, I mean, I can write a book, but I don't know about criminal law, California criminal law, much less. So it's halfway, it's all the way across the country, 3,000 miles away, right? California dreaming. Even Hollywood stars bash failed Democratic leaders. As LA has almost 30,000 acres. Gosh. Let's see what that computes to. 30,000 divided by 640. Oh God, that's 47 square miles. If you know, people don't have a feeling of what 30,000 acres means. Well, there's 640 acres in a square mile. Yeah, I happen to have that embedded in my memory for some unknown reason. I remember the weirdest things. Yeah. 46.875 square miles. Phew. That's, 7 times 7 is 49, so if it's a perfect square, then that's 7 miles by 7 miles. That's amazing. So that'd be the equivalent of, about most of Palm Beach County, the whole county. Because from the ocean to the edge of the Everglades, it's roughly 7 miles. So from Boca Raton, it's 7 miles north. So you're up around Delray, Boynton Beach. .441 to Delray down to Boca Raton. And that would be 50 square miles, roughly. Jeez. Everyone's sitting around watching. Well, these wildfires just keep consuming one house after the next. Watching, the TV, broadcast. It's amazing. Let's see what this, as firefighters continue to battle blazes and landmarks like the Pacific Coast Highway still smoldering. Celebrities from Sarah Michelle Gellar to James Woods have lashed out against Democrats like Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass for being totally unprepared for a disaster that could end up representing $50 billion. That's with a boy. $50 billion in value. Yeah, I'll bet it's more than that. Yeah, just imagine. Look around where you live. Look all around. I'm looking over all these neat little things that Marilyn has floating around here. Her book collection. See. The pictures we have hanging on the wall when we attended the swearing-in ceremony, the inaugural. And we were at Bush 43, the swearing-in ceremony of George Bush's son. Yeah. Bush 43. You had Bush 41, Bush 43. Father and son act. With, I believe, James Earl Carter in between. And after one presidential cycle of 4 years with Jimmy Carter, that was enough to motivate, Plus you had the hostage crisis, which that turned out to be a mess. Well, maybe I'm thinking that was, I'm going too far back in history. Yeah, that was Reagan. And then Reagan got elected, yeah. Sorry about that. The political leadership is, it's important stuff. Yeah, whoops. This is at the funeral. I guess, it's Jimmy Carter's funeral service on Thursday. Yeah, George W. Bush and Donald Trump and Barack Obama. As they attended. There's Hillary, presidential candidate. Thank God, not presidential person. Remember, she's the one that defied a congressional subpoena. And basically, she was supposed to turn over her server. And instead of turning over her server, they bleach-bitted it. Bleach-bit is a software program you can buy for Windows-based systems. I don't know if bleach-bit is available for Mac computers, but it's like it's like a State Department erasing software. Government approved. Software program that not only erases, see the thing about Windows files, when you erase a file in Windows, you just delete the index. You have an index in the back of a book, for example, or a table of contents. Well, more precisely, the index in the back of a book. So here you got the whole book, and you want to delete, pictures of a certain funeral service. So instead of actually erasing the pictures, when you delete a file in Windows, you just erase the electronic markings as to where that image is on the disk drive. So you don't actually erase the picture, you just erase the index on where that picture is. So then when you open up, when you turn on your Windows computer the next day, let's say, you can't find that picture not because it's been erased, but the digital reference on the beginning and the end point of that file on the hard disk, that's missing. Well, but the picture is actually there, and it in theory could be resurrected, by other software programs that show the beginning and the end of files that aren't actually displayed in the index. Do you want to recover that file? You say yes, and then voila, you got a picture. The picture that was previously deleted. So, but if you have a computer and you don't want to just delete references to everything that's on the disk drive, you just basically erase the entire index in the back of the book, so to speak. So if you want to be sure to get rid of everything that's on that drive so no one can see anything, no matter what, and no matter what software program you buy, you buy a program called BleachBit. Like bleach, chlorine bleach, bit. There are 8 bits in a byte. Anyway, with BleachBit, the entire drive is overridden with ones and zeros. 1 0, 1 0, 1 0. All the way across every conceivable place where data can be stored on a drive. You replace that with ones and zeros. And BleachBit actually writes ones and zeros across every 8 bits of information on a drive. Everything, even if part of that disk was empty, so to speak, it writes ones and zeros on everything. And it does that like 7 or 8 times. There is a theory, and it's been known, where you could buy a software program. So you say, show me all the bytes that are on the drive, and then all you see is ones and zeros. And then you say to another software program, show me all the latent information that's underneath the ones and zeros. Like the notion of a magnetic field that's underneath the 1 and the magnetic field that's underneath a 0. And then it resurrects everything except ones and zeros. And then you see, these latent images of pictures and emails and all that. So that's why they write ones and zeros, and then it write on the second pass through the entire drive, it might write ABC, 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 ABC on every byte on that drive gets replaced with an A and a B and a C. ABC, ABC. And then after that, it goes back to ones and zeros and ones and zeros. And it does that, in 4 different iterations for eight times. And that's a specification that's demarked, like demarcation. That's a specification for government employees, in particular Department of Defense employees, that are going to erase information from their computer systems in a particular office of the Department of Defense. So if you're going to erase something, you have to do it according to, and your Department of Defense staff member, you have to do it according to the specification outlined by the Department of Defense. Well, apparently BleachBit lives up to the requirements of DoD 11.29763. Yeah. Oh gosh, I made up that number. A little sip of hot tea this Friday morning, 9:26 in the morning, and you can see that right at that clock right there, 9:27:06:07:08. Yep, that's a little digital clock I got back there, so you can see that in your review of what what we're talking about here. Well, so there's the funeral. There's the cover of the New York Post as of Friday, January 10th, 2025. Yep. Even Hollywood stars are bashing Democratic leaders, like mayors. Imagine the mayor of Hollywood. Hollywood. But LA County, for example, where you open up a fire hydrant and there's no water. Yeah. And they had it on the schedule to test all the fire hydrants. They do a pressure test of all the fire hydrants. It's something that, is a specification required by the fire department of, city and county municipalities all over the United States. I remember seeing that in various places that we've lived, where they put a little on the top or the side of the side, because they have a big nut on top of the fire hydrant, which closes off, a big valve in the fire hydrant. Fire hydrant is a big cast iron, a thing that's probably 3 foot tall. Now it's buried under the ground a little bit, so just the top 3 feet are above ground, and there could be 2 feet below the ground where it attaches with 6 or 8 bolts, to a very large, pipe that's 6 or 8 inches in diameter. And that valve is kept shut. And there's a big nut on top, requires a big wrench that the fire departments have hanging on their fire trucks. So that if the cap, the side cap of a fire hydrant gets stolen or misplaced, you have these kids, they steal stuff. Let's see. Fire. H. Y. Fire hydrants, not water. That's a search. I'm not a robot. It's live TV, folks. I'll allow it to. Let's see some fire hydrants, folks. Well, let's click images. So here's a fire hydrant with a hose attached to it. You see this big wrench that's on top of that fire hydrant? That opens up the water. So then this is the cap that has been removed from the fire hydrant. It's attached with a chain, so it doesn't accidentally get lost, because those caps are expensive. Anyway, so you attach your hose with those big brass fittings. You can see the red hose, which is collapsed because there's no water flowing through it. And then you open that valve, and then water flows through that hose. Now, in certain neighborhoods, they take the valve cap off and and they have the spritzer on there so that the kids can run through the water, when the temperature gets over, 95 degrees in certain, times of the year, in summertime. Here's another one. So here's another fire hydrant. So that's the nice fire hydrant, painted in red and white. And see these, boy. There are bolts all the way around the bottom, holding it onto another fitting that then connects it to the whole city water system. Trying to find a fire hydrant with the pressure gauge that you would apply to one of these fire hydrants to test the water pressure that's coming up into the fire hydrant. You see how big it stands up? There you can see the fire hydrant. And 2 fire department staff members are getting ready to connect that hose to this outlet right there. guess I'd have to add and they flush these lines, at least in Florida, they flush them every quarter. Here's a case where they're flushing it. See this red fire hydrant? I'll touch it. It will show up over here. So here they have a nozzle on it, and they're spraying water. And a lot of times they'll flush the line, and that's what they'll do. They'll open up that sucker and let it run for 20 or 30 minutes to let the see, here's a picture of the fire hydrant's connection, and this black part where'd that go? There it is, that black part over here. Yeah, that's how it connects. Into the city water system. But there's a lot of. So here you can see now when they use that wrench over there on the top, they've turned it, they've opened it, like 1/3 of the way, and you can see the water is spilling enough to hit the curb rather than dig up, all the grass surrounding that fire hydrant. So presumably there's a lot of city water, behind that. You can see the yellow hydrant over here to the right of these pictures, where the official is opening up that valve more and more, so you can see the amount of water flow. It's huge. Oops. There, see, here's another example picture. Another example picture right here. Well, they put another cap. They turn the hydrant off with the nut, on top of the fire hydrant. And you can see here in this example picture. These pictures keep moving around on me. They can put a pressure valve on top, shut this thing off, and measure the actual water pressure in pounds per square inch, generally. Here's an apparatus you can see over here. Where they have a water meter that's attached to this outlet. So if they're going to use that water, the fire hydrant water, for the purpose of irrigating the grass, watering the plants and the grass. But it's unheard of that you got firemen with fire hoses all over the part of LA County. And you turn on the hose and there's no pressure. That's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So they, yeah. See, here's a fellow. He's, gosh darn it. See, he's opening that valve. Over 9,000 hydrants keep you safe. Well, it didn't keep him safe in LA County. I've never heard of such a thing. So as more and more people are investigating what the hell's going on, you're going to hear some results of some fire hydrant tests and the PSI. Turns out that because of this incredible fire that was sweeping all over, the county lost power, and the utility, when certain lines are down, then the utility company comes in and turns off the power. Well, you turn it off for, you don't turn off the circuits that are feeding the pumps that are feeding the fire hydrants. Well, that's what happened. They turned off the pumps that feed the fire hydrants. And that's why they didn't have any water pressure. Particularly in parts of, the LA County that are, 50, 80, 100 feet above sea level. Because that means that the water pressure has to go up, the side of a cliff. Anyway. So one of the firemen were interviewed by one of the news shows this morning, and he basically said that several weeks ago the county canceled the fire hydrant tests. Why the hell would you do that? So the mismanagement is like terrible. So they flush the fire hydrants, they check the flow, and make sure these suckers are working. Because what good is it, if it's not working? The fire truck, some fire trucks have, maybe 1,000-gallon tank of water that it drives around with just to handle small blazes. But the fire department is expecting, a serious amount of pressure in that fire hydrant to fill up the hose and give a nice long blast of water. So that the firemen can do their job, particularly in an emergency. So you test these things, every quarter or every 6 months to make sure there's sufficient pressure in the system. Make sure there are no leaks, underground leaks, that would impair pressure or flow. Yep. So here they got, a hydrant open. You can see the flow of water. So this, this in running a county or whatever jurisdiction it is, a city or a county, these tests, not only do they check the pressure, but they flow them to get rid of water that might be turned brown, in a closed system. So they open it up and they flow it so that they can, get rid of the dirty water, so that when you're spraying a particular area, you're not going to throw iron oxide all over the side of a building or something or other. So they purge, So here's a picture of something attached to a fire hydrant. See, look how far above ground this is. Yeah. So you can see in that picture. You can check, there's a water meter. There's all kinds of different testing equipment that you can throw onto a fire hydrant. When they're putting out a fire, they generally don't put this kind of an attachment on there, which would reduce the flow of water, number one. And number two, the pressure that would come out of this smaller orifice, this smaller opening, wouldn't drive the fire hose, sufficiently. Than if they just connected the fire hose with a brass fitting, all the way over to that edge. Yep. But this is what happens when so the fire departments, write up a code of operating procedures and testing that's done with the whole fire hydrant system. You can imagine all the underground piping that's necessary to service, like 9,000 fire hydrants that are spread all over a jurisdiction. So, I'm just looking through here to see if there's any other images that would be helpful. I think we've seen enough on that. Anyway, so all this stuff is, a serious business. And, and you got, city and county employees running around, dealing with, you put on this cap here that's on the ground. It's some kind of a test application. Some fire hydrants, like in this picture, you got a 4-inch outlet. You know, a 4-inch outlet, lets an awful lot of water go through. And it creates an awful lot of head pressure when you get to the other end of the hose. So you have different hose types. You got a 2.5 inch fitting, and you have a 4-inch fitting for larger hoses, where the hose runs longer distances. That's one of the reasons you'd have, a 4-inch hose. That's a big hose. And some, fire trucks usually have 4-inch hoses and 2.5-inch hoses, depending on how much flow they need. And of course, they go to school, literally, to determine, which type hose systems they want to carry on their fire trucks. Well, there's no sense in outfitting a bunch of trucks with let's turn down epidemic a little bit. I can't hear myself think. Anyway, so that's the fire hydrant story. When you photo albums, when you look at some of these stories. So the beauty of the internet is you can go do a little research yourself. Yeah. And right now, Judge Mouchant is opening up the files where the prosecutors are saying that Trump's conduct is a direct attack on the rule of law. A bunch of the rule of law. He categorized a legal expense as a legal expense. Well, you should have had this is something that happened in, 2006 or something. Is that long ago enough? Well, in 2016, they were using this lawfare stuff. Warfare, lawfare, to attack Trump when he was getting elected the first time. They're throwing everything that they can at him. And according to the legal experts, like constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley, is commenting on the sentence hearing, which Trump is actually at Mar-a-Lago, so he's attending the meeting virtually, meeting by a closed circuit, a court-approved chat TV. Yeah. So he'll get sentenced. See, he's not guilty of anything until he gets sentenced. Then the indictment turns into a conviction, and the conviction turns into a sentence entered into by a judge. Now, when that happens, then defendants, like Trump, can appeal the whole case, to the Court of Appeals, the Supreme Court of the state of New York and onward to the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court didn't act yesterday because the case wasn't fully adjudicated. So now, once sentencing has occurred, then you can go, you go through the appeals process and find out, how that goes. Apparently, there's enough rebuttable error in the way this case was handled and the restrictions that the judge wouldn't allow evidence that the defendant wanted to show the jury, in the defense of the case brought against him by the state of New York. So because of the judge's constant refusal, overruled, sustained, overruled. Well, there weren't any sustained. Donald Trump's attorneys were shut down at almost every turn. When I object, overruled. I object, sustained. Objection overruled. So when the state of New York put on its case, every time one of the defendant's attorneys stood up and said, "I object," it was, constantly being overruled to such a degree that it mirrors a rebuttable presumption of not being a fair trial. So the judge will be issuing his orders. Anyway, Trump is no wallflower. He's certainly going to use the legal system that's provided to all Americans. Today he's an American citizen. He's a president-elect. He's a former president, but he's not president yet. Not until 10 days from now, when it's the 20th of the month. Then he stands before the Supreme Court of the United States, where he's sworn in, where he takes an oath of office. And that whole arena is called the inauguration. Brown got a sticker. Can I pet that dog? That big bear. Or it's a sign on a big bear. You wanna pet that dog? It might just eat you. Yeah. January 10th. Yep. As part of my home page on my iPhone 16 Pro Max. The iPhone 17 and the iPhone 18. There's a lineup of new products that have already been decided with their engineers with regard to the size, specification, the gauge, the material, like what kind of metal, Is it going to be titanium like it is now? The case in this iPhone is milled, carved out of a block of titanium. And the approximate size of this phone over here. Sirius XM radio. There's a button like this now that is in the latest edition of the Tesla, so that, and I can log in to that account with that, because this logo will then be on the screen. With you can play music, you can watch movies, videos, podcasts, whatever on the screen of the Tesla. So while someone's driving, the balance of the passengers in the car, who can watch movies, listen to Sirius XM radio, watch TV, using, the app that your internet provider provides to you, so you can watch TV, on your iPad. Over here in the corner of the screen, right above there, you can see My Radar Pro. We can look right below there. Xfinity. Yep. So you can stream your favorite TV channel, presumably. I have a couple of requirements. It basically searches all the channels. I only want to see the high definition channels. Because there's 1,000 channels. So here I'm going to press Fox News, America's Newsroom, press that. And then this would be,
saw these types of cross-pollination that you just raised,
a TV channel.
There's evidence of that, and I think that,
which is,
in my view,
it's blocked out on your screen.
That is going to be
They don't allow you to.
I don't think this case is likely to be upheld. I hope it will not be.
Watch
but I think
TV.
that the verdict.
When the iPad is connected to, the iPad, the MacBook computer, and the Ecamm Live blocks out the picture. And I think it's a signal that's set up by the networks that don't want you to show the audio or the video of whatever programming it, the programming has been established, to go through approved channels to get to your TV in your house, for example. Yeah. Here you can see the Tesla app. We don't have the car plugged in overnight, and pump the car up to 365 miles of range. So she's parked. Where is she parked? Let's go look. She's parked in front of the twin office buildings here And you can see the word Seacoast Bank. Yep. The car has its own AT&T connection to the internet, and it also broadcasts the coordinates of where the car is on the map. So you don't have to wonder where the car is. You can see it right there. And when it's driving, the wheels rotate on this red Tesla. Our Tesla is actually black, but I have it painted red here, somewhere in the settings of this app. Full self-driving. Your full self-driving capability. They've given us a free trial month, and it's reminding me that it ends on January 24th. And after the 24th, then I can subscribe to the service for $100 a month, and it will do these following things. You can navigate on autopilot. It'll automatically perform lane changes. It'll automatically park itself. It'll steer. It'll auto steer in all city streets, and it will follow all traffic light and stop sign controls. Yep, I think that's there. No, yes. So there you can see a graphic of an autopilot scenario. I heard on a YouTube channel yesterday that the latest version 13 of the autopilot software, and I can show you down here where we can see that. You go in the very bottom here, and you can see the software is version 13.2, all the way in the bottom of the notes. I'm shaking. Yeah, see. So the software version is version 12, 45.25.5. Now that's a piece of the software for the regular driving software module in the car. But if you turn on, which I can do right now, full self-driving, supervised software, version 13.2, the people on the show, on the podcast I was watching, were duly impressed with version 13.2, and it drives the car like a human would drive the car, except that it has 8 eyeballs. It's got 8 cameras, 3 in the front, 2 on each side. That's 4 cameras, plus 3 out front, that's 7, and 1 rear-facing camera, that's 8. So it's got 8 cameras all the way around the car, which looks at video information, 30 times a second. Looks at each frame. This is live now, so that it'll, avoid accidents. So when you get in your car, it automatically looks at your calendar, and then drives you to work every day, because you work every day. Now, so the car will take you to work. All you got to do is sit in there, put in your, just confirm that you want to go to work. And there's a button that's home and work. So you press the work button, you fasten your seatbelt, and then you look at all the graphics display, and you put that sucker in reverse, or whatever, to get out of your parking place. And when you put that thing in drive, it'll take you to work. It'll go right to your address. It'll make all the turns. It'll stop at all the stoplights. It'll make sure you don't crash into the car in front of you. It'll make sure, if you change lanes, that you don't turn into, make a left turn right into the sidewall of another car, because it's got cameras on the sides. It's got 4 cameras looking out to the side. So I'm looking at the delayed broadcast, and it looks like all the news reporters are walking out of court. And it looks like the verdict for Trump is an unconditional discharge. No prison, no probation, and no conditions for Trump's release. And he'll probably, pay a fine of some sort, which is yet to be, I don't know if Judge Mouchant has declared if there's any fine, or just it's the conviction only. Oh, we'll find out in due course, as they say. Anyway, so you can see, here's the full menu of items that are available to the Tesla car. See, here's release notes for version 12. Now, this is the software application that is not associated with self-driving. And if I click on that button, see, now here it shows embedded in release 45.25.5 is full self-driving supervised, version 13.2.2. Well, there are 3 gentlemen on a podcast last night that are all high-techy types that all drive Teslas, and they're talking about the full self-driving software and the hardware package that's associated with this software. And it has full resolution, 36 cycles a second, full frame HD cameras, and which inputs all this information into the neural network architecture of the software module in the very high power portable computer that's basically bolted into the back end of behind the glove box, so to speak, in that area of the behind the dashboard. It has 5x training compute, enabled by the Cortex cluster. You have your software guy to understand what that means. speed profiles for both city streets and highway streets. That means all the street sign information that outlines speed limits for the whole country is embedded in the software. Let's see. Redesigned controller for smoother, more accurate tracking, dynamic routing around road closures, and so forth. That may be, in the road map that's in your car, in your computer. 3x model size scaling, 3x model context scaling, audio inputs for better handling of emergency vehicles, improved forward and rearward predictions for navigation, improvements to the false braking that used to happen apparently during its driving, and potentially as it comes across people that have individuals that own real estate that show up on the map. Efficient representation of maps of the maps and the navigation inputs. Improved handling of camera occlusions. There you can see the full self-driving supervised. There's a footnote by the legal department saying, under your supervision, full self-driving software can drive your Tesla almost anywhere. It will make lane changes, select forks on the road, and it will follow all the instructions as to speed and which lane to be in with the next left-hand and right-hand turns. So the footnote is, you and anyone you authorize must use additional caution and remain attentive while permitting this full self-driving software to drive the car for you. Activation of this software does not make your vehicle autonomous. Yeah. Do not become complacent. Do not fall asleep. There are a lot of police that pull over these people that they're asleep in their car, and they're on a highway that's stop and go traffic. You got a picture of this guy taking a nap in the front seat of his car. Oh boy, you're not supposed to do that, because this is full self-driving, supervised, in brackets. Yep. That's restoring the car from park. Update the sharing app. Yeah, anyway, so they have different ways of using the software. How it connects up to the Apple Watch. I see on my Apple Watch, I can see right now the the range of the battery. I'll do a print screen. Look, didn't work. Let's try again. There we go. Now we'll see a print screen in the photos section. It should show up right on this list of photos. There it comes. There it is. Ooh, it's fuzzy. There you go. Let's try another one. Anyway, you can almost see what's going on here. Here it is. Bingo. So see right there on my watch, this thing is logged right into the computer of the car, and it shows we got 264 miles of range in the fuel tank. It's Friday, January 10th. It's 10:20 a.m. Let's see what this says now. 10:21. Plus it's a minute. It's a minute later here. Whoop, there we go. Now you can see the seconds. And you can see up in the corner there, there's a 10 with the, all the minutes. I can touch that button and activate the timers. There you go. And we'll see that pop up on the next print screen. There it is. And if I just press that arrow over there on the watch, it would start this timer. And it would go, 9, 59, 58, 56. That's the 10-minute timer. So if I'm cooking my spaghetti, which generally is a 10-minute or an 11-minute amount of time, I got it right on my watch for cooking times. Yeah. I got one on the refrigerator also. If we're going to time more than one thing, like if I'm making spaghetti sauce and I'm timing some of that. So the Associated Press, according, let's look at AP. There's the app. There we go. You should be able to see this. There we go. Breaking news. Make sure I'm a human. Live update. Judge sentences Trump in hush money case, but declines to impose any punishment. No penalties, no prison time. There don't appear to be any fines either. No punishment. Oh, wait. You know, other than a tongue lashing that the judge would be talking to Trump and his lawyers, saying, no, you mustn't do. You broke the law. Bad person. No penalties. No prison time. No punishment. Which I assume that has something to do with here's a timeline of the whole god darn thing. When the judge walked into the court, 48 minutes ago, Judge Juan N. Merchant has entered the courtroom and is sitting at the bench. Trump addressed the court 27 minutes ago. Trump's attorney addresses the court. And then 21 minutes ago, Judge Merchant starts to speak. And 13 minutes ago, the judge has decided not to impose any punishment. Yep, that's live right up to 7 minutes ago. Unconditional discharge. So that way he can, operate as the president, of the United States, which he will be taking office in 10 days. So I'm staying right up with you on that. Fuzzy picture. Let's go ahead and delete that. There's a fire hydrant. Whoops. You can see right here those red needles measures the flow of the water in gallons per minute and gallons. That red dial goes around and around, and each one of those markings is 10 gallons, 5, 10, 15, 20, and these black digits right there is a counter on the number of gallons that's actually being passing through this stage in the water flow. And this is a reducing thingy, and there's a valve you can open up to purge the meter before you connect it, to a hose or a sprinkler thing for children or whatever. You're permitted to do. This is a new reduced pressure zone hydrant meter, fire hydrant meter. And you see there's a bracket that's underneath the valve and it's a strain relief, so there's no strain on this fitting right here. So I mean, this whole apparatus probably weighs 100 pounds, and they don't want to put 100 pounds of pressure on this brass fitting right here with the little lock on it. Yeah. So they extend this metal device that's underneath two pieces of plywood, and it's putting pressure underneath the blue end of this big valve assembly. Yeah, this thing could weigh 100 pounds because it's all heavy duty cast iron. These are brass fittings. Each, that brass fitting right there probably weighs 2 or 3 pounds right there. Just that little end. This big piece in the middle, that's probably a 10-pounder or more. Anyway, so they don't leave this here. They use this for whatever purpose it's on there for purging or whatever. But even though you're purging and cleaning out the system, getting rid of all the rusty water, see in the casting here, this is a 2002 cast. Yeah, Albertville, the name of the city. Yeah. You can see, the age of the paint down here in the part, that the splash zone for this big cast iron pipe that's coming up through the cement. And you can see these bolts all around here are tarnished and so forth. It's a high pressure fitting to attach the actual fire hydrant. There's that valve nut I told you about on the top. This is a more high definition picture, so you can see that nut. All right. I've got some Chinese food in the refrigerator. I think I'm going to have a Chinese food lunch. How about that? And I recommend you do the same. Nice veggies and so forth. I got lo mein this time from China One, next to the Publix store down here in Boca Raton. That is delivered from the time we ordered it to the time we got it. It was about 30 minutes. Marilyn says, let's order some Chinese. Yes, sirree. Lo mein is pretty good. I also got a pint of wonton soup, and I take some of the broth from the soup, and I ladle it into the lo mein to, give the, lo mein is like egg noodles, and it's sauteed in, the sauce that they use when they stir fry rice. But they're it's in a wok, and they stir fry the noodles with some veggies. And they call that lo mein. So I just add a little wonton soup broth, chicken broth, into that mixture, which gets absorbed by the noodles. So I did that last night. For the half of the, they serve you this dinner. There's no way you could eat it all. So Marilyn took a little. I took, about half of it. And I got a little less than half left over for a nice lunch. Yes, sirree. Well, I've been on the air for an hour and 31 minutes as we went through the fires and the headline news from the New York Post. Oh my God. It's disgusting. Look at that. Everything's just ablaze. Yeah. That's a bad picture. It's high winds. Everything's on fire. Not a fire truck in sight. Yeah. It's too much. Too much fire. They've discovered 10 people. I'll bet that goes way up from here. As they search through block by block, house lot by house lot, where the houses have been reduced to ash. And they'll discover bodies, bones. People that got, went down with the ship, so to speak, or got trapped. Maybe they were bedridden, and they couldn't get up and get out. They had no one to help them out, so they just perished. There was 5 people that had died in the wildfires as it spread through Southern California, and one of the 4 or 5 people that they discovered yesterday and the day before was people that were known to have been bedridden and had just died in bed because they couldn't get out, and they weren't mobile enough to crawl out of the front door to avoid being burned by the fire. Whew. That's like being put in an oven. Alrighty. It's 10:38 in the morning. So, get ready for a nice lunch, or get your stuff out of the refrigerator and make a little lunch for yourself. And I'll play Epidemic with the microphone off, so you can hear how beautiful this sounds through your system and with this broadcast. The high quality audio that my soundboard delivers. Okay? Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.